Developing now, drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman has officially been renamed Chicago's public enemy #1 just days after his brazen escape from a maximum security prison here in Mexico. That's because Chicago has felt the impact of Guzman's drug ring firsthand. Just this past January, U.S. authorities said Guzman's cartel played a major role in importing more than 2 tons of cocaine a month into Chicago. From there, it was sold throughout the Midwest, the Northeast, and parts of Canada. The Chicago Crime Commission calls Guzman one of the most dangerous criminals in the world.
We need to have the concerted effort of both the Mexican government and the U.S. government in recapturing Mr. Guzman before he's able to dig himself into a wormhole somewhere never to be found again.
Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Luis Gutiérrez of Illinois, whose district includes Chicago. Congressman, always a pleasure. Talk to me about how El Chapo's drug cartel has directly impacted Chicago.
Well, look, the murder rate in the city of Chicago is fueled by the war on our streets about who is going to be able to distribute drugs. The drugs that obviously come channeled through the Mexican cartels. 80% of the cocaine in the city of Chicago comes via Chapo's drug cartel. And it just seems to me that the war on drugs, it doesn't have boundaries, right? And I think the Mexican government made a terrible, terrible mistake when it decided that it would keep and not allow Guzman to be extradited. Look, we have our problems with our prison systems. People do escape from our prison system, but they don't escape from maximum security prisons, such as the one we have. And they don't give people like this terrorist drug dealer, Guzman, the ability to have resources in and around them. It just doesn't happen. He should have been transferred to us, because look, it's 100,000 Mexicans that have lost their lives and countless Americans that lose their lives because of the drug epidemic that exists.
Congressman, do you think the United States was actually preparing to increase the number of extradition requests for Guzman? The authorities here in Mexico said, we're not going to extradite him because we can handle this. What does it say? I mean, what could be done in a country where impunity and corruption, quite frankly, exist from A to Z?
Look, they should set their pride aside and enable their friends and their allies, because we're in this together. Again, Mexican nationals die, American citizens die. You know, Guzman does not treat one better than the other. He cares not about any of the human beings living on one side or the other border, but simply maintaining this corrupt criminal enterprise. And so I think they should say, you know, there are things you can do better. Not perfectly, you can do better in the United States. And one of the things is to say, you know, all that infrastructure, you know, all that corrupt system that you've been able to develop, all of those allies and friends that you have in Mexico, you don't have them in Colorado. You don't have them throughout the United States. So we'll take them and we'll work together, because in the end, getting Guzman is a victory for the people of Mexico and the United States. We shouldn't be looking at this as some territorial issue.
Congressman Luis Gutiérrez, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being with me.